What's up, fam? It's your boy Demuir here, purveyor of all sounds underground. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel today, where I'll be discussing the topic of NFTs, making your fans essentially the record label. And I'll get more into that, but before we get started, what I need from you is that SLC. Hit subscribe, like, comment, and more importantly, hit the notifications bell to stay in touch with the new videos that we have up and coming. All right, so let's get right into this one. This video was inspired by a recent clip that I saw from serial entrepreneur Gary Vee.
They're more dangerous than Napster, than SoundCloud, than TikTok, because the record labels always had the fact that they were the funding mechanism of the artist. Now you get big on TikTok and SoundCloud and you sell NFTs to your audience, you can raise $5 million overnight and you can keep 80% instead of giving up 80%. Nice. And then you know how good it feels when you pop off that the fucking people that believed in you the most are the ones that are getting money every time you Spotify? Because 90% of artists don't feel great about the company making the money, and now the people that are gonna make money besides the artists are the earliest fans who believed in the artist. So the fans are gonna become the record label, not the record label.
And he's had some really great disruptive and thought-provoking ideas as we've gone along. I remember him being one of the first to sort of predict or push this agenda of having trap or rap music with a country song, and then of course we got Nas and a whole slew of other songs and almost a new genre being created as a result of that discussion. So he recently posted a video about his thoughts on NFTs, and essentially the point of it was that as creators, leveraging things like TikTok and SoundCloud in combination with NFTs can act as the funding house or the bank, so to speak, that a lot of record labels take the position of today. And by doing so, you can fund a project and say 20% of it will go back to fans and they'll be your fans for life and also make money at the same time. And whereas you as the artist keep the majority of the funds involved. And I actually think it's a pretty interesting idea, but why don't we step through in terms of what this means for electronic music, in my view. And I'm talking about underground electronic music. I'm not talking about commercial EDM or the other cheesy stuffs, because I think those operate on very different business models. Specifically, if you look at the whole concept of 360 deals, being in the rap and trap world, and depending on how big your catalog is for commercial EDM, it also invades that space as well. In underground electronic music, you're just not going to see 360 deals and things of that nature. But as I do get into the details of this video, I do invite you to check out a cool video. I'll post a link in the description that explains NFTs in under 4 minutes. So I'm going to share my points with you in terms of what I think this means for underground electronic music. So let's jump right in. So what are NFTs? NFTs are non-fungible tokens that enable a unique digital signature for a piece of artwork being created by you, and you will always be identified as the owner, and you can then transact on that on a blockchain. And that is the greatest part about this thing, is that it cannot necessarily be copied or reproduced. It will always identify you as the unique owner. You can have several different buyers, but you will always be the owner. Whereas in some other instances, like today, for example, in the digital world, people could copy your stuff and then post it up and sell it on some pirate site and take all the money for it. Whereas with an NFT, you could set this up uniquely for you on a blockchain that people transact on, and as a result, you have a detailed record of whenever things are exchanging hands, and you're always seen as the copyright owner. All right, and point number 2. So what is the attraction of NFTs when it comes to the world of art and underground electronic music specifically? Well, the attraction is just the fact that you can create something uniquely that you will always be the owner of in this current construct in terms of how NFTs and blockchains work. Whereas in a traditional business model today, we have contracts that are written up. You license the song to the label for how many years. You allow them to redistribute your work, even remix it at their, at their perusal whenever they feel like it. And as a result, they can choose when or should they even pay you in a number of instances. And other contracts are worse than others, of course, where they come up with these, imaginary charges to always keep you, the artist, in debt. So in this model with NFTs, owning stuff is a huge piece of it, but just having the detailed record via a blockchain is very attractive. And just with how you interact with your fans, you could say, this is a new project I'm setting up, buy into this, and everyone sees the records of how much money came in and what percentage is going back to those fans who invested in the project, where it's just clearly seen, and everyone understands that you as the creator are the owner. It's unique to you, and as a result, you own that piece and the value that's attached to it. And point number 3, I will summarize this as, the famous quote, which is, the pen is mightier than the sword. And you do get this with NFTs and blockchaining, depending on how you set it up and program it. So things like, you set up the NFT, you get, of course, a detailed record of each buyer, and whenever it exchanges hands, you can program this thing to pay royalties to you as the transaction happens, or when it's finalized, so to speak. Whereas in today's model, we have all these wonderful contracts, and they're on paper or in PDFs, and you sign them back, and everyone says, yes, I will adhere to the agreement. But when you come across situations, depending on the label and the size of it and the size of the issue at hand, you might find yourself saying as an artist, you know what, I'm not going to bother with that, because the cost of going through legal litigation by far outweighs, the value of whatever is being disputed. And that is something that often happens more than not. Whereas with this model and NFTs and blockchain, it's all there. It's transparent. You can program it to work the way you want it to work, to have you on the upper position from a financial perspective. All right, so point number 4, is this legit? Do I think this will work in underground electronic music? I'm at a point of skepticism right now, but I do think there are slowly progressing business models that are pushing this way of thinking and are actually allowing people to just move forward and transact on it. I really do believe this. Like, you got models like Patreon, you have alternate solutions to streaming like YouTube and Bandcamp, Beats Union, where they're solely focused on making sure the artist walks away with the majority of the revenue. And these platforms are available today as interim solutions. I love the NFT solution because despite the fact that you're still able to, reproduce and play a piece of music wherever, as owners and, as a content creator, you're saying, yeah, I own this outright and no one could ever take that away from you. Whereas in a traditional record label model, depending on the contract you sign, you can go through all these different dumb hoops where the record label charges you for a bunch of different things that were not existent before, but because of how the contract was structured and what you signed off on allows them to do these things that in a lot of different cases essentially keeps the artist in debt. So when we go back to what Gary Vee was saying, artists now have, a banking or funding solution available to them through NFTs in coordination with their fans to be able to set up something unique that allows them to retain ownership and to benefit always financially from the model. So I do think it's the way to go, certainly with Purveyor Underground and Purveyor Underground Limited. We will be exploring this, and I think we're actually close on a few things. So I just think it's the way to go. Anything that allows an artist to create something, retain ownership, and benefit financially from it is something that I'll always sign up for. And point number 5, in contrast, I do want to express caution here, because I always think with anything good, the fact that we're here on Earth and a lot of major countries and cities operate with, a judicial system, a court structure. I think anything good like an NFT could be sidestepped through very finessed contracts. So what I mean by that is I can create an NFT and say I own it and transact on it on the blockchain and always be identified as such. But if I sign something that says, because I created these things and I note the specific, fingerprint of that NFT, and then say, as a result of creating this and transacting on it through this external party, that essentially allows them to own it, changes the whole thing rather immediately from a legal perspective. So anything that is beneficial can be easily sidestepped or changed through a contract of sorts. And that's why I express caution here. Now, it would be unusual, I think, for you to feel the need to enter a contract if you created this NFT on your own. It's clearly identified in terms of its fingerprint, you being the owner, and it shows who the buyers are at any given moment in time. There really should be no need to go externally. But I have to raise this point because it is indeed possible. So a word of caution on that one. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up here because I think it merits some thought and more discussion. And it really is a individual choice for you as an artist. But I do think it's something worth exploring. Let me know your thoughts on this one. I usually join a conversation within 48 hours of posting these videos, so I'd love to hear what you got to say on this. And also join us on our Discord server. It's absolutely free, where you'd meet a lot of motivated individuals all looking forward in the pursuit of maximizing the craft and helping one another out. So check us out. Much love and respect to you. Peace.